Hey, what's up everyone? JJ here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at the 2024 summer wave of the Hogwarts Castle set, and we're going to talk about the coming up January 2025 LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle sets, and we're going to look at how those sets are going to connect to each of these. We are also going to look at the summer June 2025 Hogwarts Castle Main Tower build and kind of speculate where I think it's going to connect and how it's going to connect to these sets. But let's jump right in looking at the Great Hall and take a look at some of those January 2025 sets coming out.
Now we will quickly take a look at each of these summer 2024 LEGO Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle sets, and we'll start with the smallest one, which was $37.99 in the US, and that is the Hogwarts Castle Boathouse. Of course, it was really cool to get the boathouse in LEGO form, as we haven't seen a ton of iterations with this. However, the coolest feature is that it connects to the Great Hall, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to look at these sets in the context of how I think they're going to connect to the new release in both January and June of 2025. The boathouse came with 5 minifigures: Professor McGonagall, Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, Dean Thomas, as well as Neville Longbottom. And as you can see, this wave of the Hogwarts Castle system sets from 2024 focused on the first film. So there are some discussions that perhaps the new wave that's coming out in 2025 will focus on the third film, The Prisoner of Azkaban. The build itself is quite nice for the boathouse. As you can see, there's a pretty cool exterior and kind of a little dock kind of design so that the boats can slide pretty much right here as the students make their way up to the staircase to the Great Hall. As you can see, the back is open, and this is where it is going to connect with these little clip pieces into the Great Hall build. And here we can see the connection pieces here with the Great Hall set, as well as a staircase that leads up to the courtyard, which of course has the entrance into the Great Hall. The Great Hall comes with 6 student minifigures, of course, Ron, Harry, and Hermione, as well as a representative from each of the additional 3 houses. We also get this big fig for the troll, which we see in the girls' bathroom from the first book and film. And then we see 3 professor minifigures, of course, Professor Dumbledore, Professor Quirrell, and there in the middle, Professor Vector. This set also comes with the Fat Friar, which is a nice inclusion of the Hogwarts Ghost. There is some rumor that perhaps we will get the Bloody Baron with the main tower build in June of 2025. We can see this build was built atop this really great rock structure that really add to a lot of the presence and height of this set, kind of really creating it and separating it from some of the other Great Hall builds we've seen. We will also look at the interior and kind of how this castle system allows for the interchanging of different rooms and additional buildings, which I think is going to play a huge role when we see the additional expansions to the Hogwarts Castle system in 2025. Now, looking at the interior of the Great Hall, we are going to focus on a few different things as we talk about the connection points with some of the 2025 LEGO Harry Potter sets. First is, of course, the main build or structure of the Great Hall itself. Looking at the 2025 January release, we see that the Dueling Club can kind of be added right here if you remove all the tables. So that's an interesting way to incorporate the Dueling Club with the Great Hall build, which I thought was unique was in the 2024 LEGO Harry Potter Advent Calendar, a lot of those builds were also incorporated or able to be incorporated here into the Great Hall. So I like that the designers are really thinking of how some of those smaller sets can connect and go into this larger set. So the Dueling Club, not my favorite necessarily overall, mostly because it just kind of sits on top, but it is a cool idea and it gives promise for future sets the designers create. And here we can see the Dueling Club set 76441. This is releasing in January of 2025. It's $24.99 in the US, and it's a little pricier than what I want. I do like that they have the fireplace, which isn't actually in the Great Hall at the moment, so it's nice they can combine it in that way. And they really are marketing these sets as sets that combine, as you can see here. This is on the Lego.com website, and if you look at the image there of the Great Hall, it's completely empty, so you do need to kind of remove all the student tables and the professor tables. I really like the idea that these sets kind of work together in this way. I just wish there was some way we didn't have to totally disassemble these student tables here in the Great Hall. So if you look at those kind of clip pieces there in the front, I kind of wish this would have flipped over or hung off the side in some way so that you can maybe, I don't know, have the student table still assembled with the Dueling Club kind of on top or kind of flipping or connecting in some other way. But all in all, I do think it's cool that they're doing this with these sets. Next, I want to point out these four kind of clip pieces that we see on the edge of the Great Hall, as well as this door frame leading out of the courtyard. My guess is that the main tower, the footprint of it, it's going to kind of be the same footprint as this bathroom down here, where it will clip on to these two pieces, and then you'll be able to enter into the main tower through the courtyard here. And the reason I think that is because I think a different set or build is going to be clipped onto these other two, because it would be too much, in my opinion, for the main tower to kind of have this base and then also the height that you would want for the main tower going up. So my guess is this will be the footprint for the main tower. And if you kind of were to measure each of these as a level, my guess is it will be 5 levels tall, with the 5th level being the rooftop. And that, okay, it'll be tall enough and grand enough to sit next to this Great Hall build. And if you did not know, there was also this Potions Classroom set from 2024, and this set was labeled Hogwarts Castle Potions Classroom, and the reason is because this folds up and can fit nicely in one of the slots underneath the Great Hall. Here we can see it all folded up, and if you notice here on the side, it does have those little pieces that lets it slide in and out. And the Great Hall has 2 builds that fit this size. We have both the Hufflepuff Common Room, as well as the girls' bathroom where we see the troll. And we can put the Potions Classroom into either of these 2 slots. And here you can see I put the Potions Classroom on this left-hand side where the girls' bathroom was before. And what's neat is you can open this door, this wall I mean, and kind of open up the Potions Classroom so you can still play with it even if you kind of keep it nestled here down underneath the Great Hall. In general, the designers did a really nice job. If you look at the empty room, it kind of has a fully built, walls, ceiling, and so you can pretty much slide easily these different rooms into the different spots. And it doesn't look like the 2025 Lego Harry Potter January release has a room that is going to be the same size that we saw as the Potions Classroom, the girls' bathroom, or as the Hufflepuff Common Room. However, in the center here, I've kind of modified this a little bit, but essentially what this was, I made a little hallway to hold my Hogwarts portraits. And here you can see the different portraits I've kind of added to the display. But one thing is cool is looking now at the 2025 January Lego Harry Potter Hogwarts Castle release, we will see that the Charms class is built in a very similar sizing, and I'm curious if it's going to be able to fit into this area. In here we can see the Charms class, and this set is retailing for $19.99 in the US, so it's definitely on the smaller side, much smaller, about half the size of the Potions class we saw over the summer. But I think it does a really good job using some of those kind of pieces and characters to increase the different classrooms that we see. When you fold it up, it looks a lot less cool than the Potions class did, but you can see kind of the scale and sizing of that is very similar to that kind of hall of portraits that I created. And looking at the lego.com website, it does show that this is going to be able to fit into that centerpiece, which is quite nice. Again, I just really like the interchangeability of these various classrooms. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it's something we haven't seen in this exact way from Lego Harry Potter. And this really leads into the discussion of the next set, the Hogwarts Castle Flying Lesson. This is $79.99 in the US, and outside of Malfoy Manor, it's probably the set I'm most excited for next, only because I'm excited to see how it connects to the Great Hall and the other Hogwarts Castle builds. What's neat is it kind of closes up fully, as we can see here, and it does continue that rock structure we saw at the Great Hall. So will this go on the left, or will it somehow attach to the back? Similarly to the bottom of the Great Hall, we see kind of 2 of those smaller size rooms, similar to kind of that portrait gallery as well as the Charms class. And that's going to be Professor McGonagall's office, as well as kind of, the Quidditch items kind of stored there as well. I will likely keep the Charms class underneath the Great Hall and keep these 2 here, but it is cool that there's some interchangeability and change there. And here we can see it pretty much confirms, of course, that the Charms class will fit neatly there underneath this set. What I am most curious is looking at the footprint of the Flying Lesson. Is this going to be underneath the main tower that comes out in summer of 2025? That's not where this is really located in the terms of the structure of the Hogwarts Castle, but I am curious if they do that, if they make this kind of like the first level and a half. I talked about there being 5 levels potentially for the height we'd want of that main tower. It does seem possible to me that then they could really make the main tower huge, but I'm hoping this is on to the other side of the Great Hall actually, only because that's kind of more accurate to where it actually belongs in the Hogwarts Castle layout. And this is the area of the Great Hall build that I was talking about in reference to the flying lessons and the main tower connecting. If the flying lessons in any way kind of serves as a base, that'll bring it up almost to the same level above the courtyard here, which really would allow the $250 to go totally to height of that build, which would make it massive and really kind of stand over the Great Hall significantly. Again, my preference is for it to connect somewhere on this side or even somewhere over here on the side of the Great Hall. Because I would like to see them start from the base up for that main tower, but I am curious how the Great Hall, the flying lesson, and the main tower in this summer are going to connect together.
Right here, looking at the Great Hall, you can see what I mean when I talk about kind of the two levels of height. This is level 1, this is level 2. The roof kind of extends onto like a third level. I kind of expect the main tower to be like this tall. So I'm curious to see if the flying lesson plays any role in that. And I kind of expect it to be a similar size and shape as we see here as the courtyard, kind of just right behind the courtyard. And people have really speculated what rooms or buildings they think will be inside of this main tower build from summer 2025. Matt Bricks 1644 speculated, of course, will be a grand staircase. They said maybe the Gryffindor as well as Slytherin common rooms, a defense against the dark art classroom, as well as Dumbledore's office. And I think that's really interesting, kind of coming into this doorway outside of the courtyard to connect into the staircase and Dumbledore's office. The one building that I really expect to see within that main tower is definitely a divination classroom. But other than that, I think that list is pretty solid, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for as well. I really like the idea of a Dumbledore's office. Remember, this set was $200, and the main tower is going to be $250. So just going up, even if you were just to take this set and turn it on its side, it would look pretty massive, and you have a lot of pieces to play around with. So I'm really hopeful we get kind of 4 or 5 builds within that main tower set.
And of course, here we see the Hogwarts Castle Harry Potter Owlery. Like I said, this seems to be in a different scale that we saw in the Great Hall. It does have a rock structure here on the bottom and leads kind of into the castle build, but it seems much smaller. This is set 76430, and there's 364 pieces, and it retails for $44.99 in the US. The minifigures are really stand out. A great torso print here for Cho Chang, as well as for Harry Potter. And I really like this hairpiece when they used it for Harry Potter in the Goblet of Fire sets. Unfortunately, it's kind of the only year that he has that hairpiece. And definitely a downgrade here for Filch. There's no leg printing, but I'm glad they included him. It's always nice to get him in Harry Potter sets. In general, this set does a nice job kind of capturing the staircase leading up to the owlery, and we can see different windows and perches where you can place different owls, and it comes with quite a few owls, which is nice, and a great build here for the roof as well. We do see a nice baby owl piece included, which I like in that light gray color, and then there's also going to be an owl statue here, and that leads up just to some of the letters and envelopes until we get to the kind of top where we see some more owls perched, as well as the Hogwarts portrait. You can notice that this set is definitely in the winter with all the different white pieces, so I'm not sure perhaps that is why we don't see it as intertwined with the Great Hall set. And of course, the Owlery stays at a very much different point of the Hogwarts landscape than the Great Hall, so I am curious if we're ever going to see this connect back to the Great Hall with all the different towers and buildings they add to this castle system.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you want to stay updated with LEGO leaks, rumors, news, and reviews, hit the subscribe button down below. I've also posted a link to the video that has the information about the January 2025 sets, as well as the leaked rumored list for the summer 2025 Harry Potter sets. I will see you all next time. Thank you.